So I've got a question for those of you who have played D&D for decades. I picked up D&D back around 2017 after watching Acquisitions Incorporated and Harmon Quest a lot. 2015, 2016 is when we were really starting to see that surge of actual play series online. And of course now there's just hundreds of them launching every single day. Oh, and stay tuned, the Gallant Goblin Plays has a new one coming up here soon too, and I'll tell you more about that soon. But 2017 wasn't the first time I had played D&D. My first game was sometime around 2010, I think, when I was living in Japan. And my buddy Andy, who I've talked about a couple of times, came to my apartment to run a one-shot with me and my buddies Terrence and Gareth. But I couldn't really wrap my head around how to play. I had played collectible card games like the Game of Thrones game, I had played my share of board games, I had even played like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale and Planescape Torment on the PC, but I didn't know what a regular game of D&D looked like. We tried to play, and I think we just ended up being like those really terrible players who sit around and talk to NPCs the whole time. I'm still kind of embarrassed about it when I talk to Andy. But these days, when I'm introducing D&D to somebody entirely new, I just load up some short clips from actual play series and say like, this is D&D, take a look. Watch for 15 minutes and you'll get a sense of what the game feels like. So I'm curious to hear from you all who played D&D and other RPGs back before actual plays existed. How did you explain the game to new players, or how did you learn to play yourself? If you've never played an RPG before, it can be kind of hard to wrap your head around, I think, especially if every player around the table is new, including the DM. So I started to think about this because our good buddy and our honorary top goblin, Brigadier General Glenn Goddard, was interviewed on the official D&D podcast this week, Dragon Talk, with Greg Tito, and he's been playing D&D, Glenn has, since the 1970s, and he's currently playing in my ongoing Storm King's Thunder campaign, so you should really go check out the interview at the link below the video down here. He's amazing, Glenn's amazing, you'll love it. And as you probably surmised from the title of this video and the thumbnail, we have a box from WizKids waiting for us at the front door over there. And while I fetch it, let me tell you a little bit about one of our sponsors for this video, DScryb, or DScryb. It is a fantastic tool for improving your RPG storytelling, whether you're a GM or a player, because it's like having a professional writer at your beck and call. They have professionally written box text for everything from locations to spell effects, to monsters, to actions you can take in combat, everything. If you're a player, you can learn how to cinematically describe the castings of your various spells. And as a GM, you can learn how to eloquently describe that burrowing onkeg so that your players can really feel that danger that they're in. At certain tiers, you can even get professional writers to help describe your PC or an important scene in your campaign. For those of us who love the game but who may not have that writing background, this is a tool like minis and great music and sound effects, like great terrain that can really enhance your games so that your players will never forget them. Check out DScryb at the link below the video and use the discount code GALLANTGOBLIN, all one word, to get 10% off of your first subscription payment. That's DScryb. All right, we got our box here. Let's dig in and see what we have. And remember that we will have reviews, full reviews of everything in here a little bit later on, so make sure you're subscribed to see that. Oh, okay, here we have Icons of the Realms, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, a collection of player character minis, including one of some of the major classes. You got a paladin, a cleric, a wizard, a rogue, and a fighter, ready for that little adventure. That's really cool. Just some kind of basic, cool adventurers, a little nerdy wizard, which I like. All right, that's a nice way to start. And we have another one down here. Strixhaven. So we're finally getting a few Strixhaven minis for the adventure book that came out last year for the Magic the Gathering magical school setting. This is set number 2, so hopefully set number 1 is in there as well. This is just some students from the various schools in there. You've got a generic first-year student, and then one for Witherbloom, Silverquill, Quandrix, Lorehold, and Prismari. So just some characters that you might be able to use as PCs or NPCs in that little adventure. And of course, you know, they fit pretty well in for any kind of little mage you want to play in any particular adventure. It doesn't have to be Strixhaven in particular. It's a cool, like, half-orc, and I love the little Quandrix student coming through, almost a little portal. Those are very cool. That's a nice little collection of little arcane miniatures for your PCs. And I'm digging in without looking in. Some of them are stuck in here a little bit. Here we go. I've been waiting for this one too. The Ogre Warband, perhaps the most common D&D monster with the fewest actual minis. Holy cow. And there's a couple of goblins in there as well. That's a super cool set. 2 males, 2 females, large size minis. Look at that. And then the 2 little goblins. Yeah, 4 ogres and 2 goblins. That's a cool set. And I think the little goblins can fit in that ogre's little backpack as well. So they can be shooting their little bows and arrows from the back of the ogre as it marches across the field. I love that. I'm looking forward to opening that up and getting a closer look at those. All right. Ooh, let's get a big one. With some bubble wrap. Get rid of the bubble wrap. And I know some folks were waiting for this one. Oh, get rid of that. We have the aspect of Tiamat. So I'm going to move some of these aside so I can get a better look at it. There we go. So now let me look at the front of it. Oh, very cool. All right. So the aspect of Tiamat was featured in the recent Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. And it is sort of a manifestation of the god Tiamat in the material realm. Has its own stat block that's pretty robust. And this is probably, you know, it looks just like Tiamat, just a wee bit smaller. And so perhaps this is a more affordable, more attainable Tiamat mini for those who maybe, I think it was, the other one was like $400 something, if I remember correctly, for the large Tiamat. I'm looking at mine up on the top shelf up there. This one's maybe a little bit more accessible to folks. And just as usable, we'll compare this one to, you know, the huge one. Plus we have the old little one up on my shelf over here so we can see how they all fit together. Pretty much thinking this is going to fit right there in the middle in size. So that's going to be an interesting one to look at. What else do we have in here? All right. A little thing here that I think was exciting. I asked for this in particular because we hadn't gotten this one yet. This is the Spelunker's docks from the Warlock tiles. And this is just a collection of little docks. Oh, and a raft. That's kind of cool. And a little rowboat that you can use for your adventures. It says removable benches in the little rowboat and removable pilings on both of the boardwalks allow you to build over the shoreline. So we can have a little fun building some docks with this. And, you know, it says Warlock tiles, but I don't think it actually includes any particular Warlock clips or anything. But there are like little wooden fishing traps and metal fishing traps and little bits of rope. So you can use this with any terrain set. If you use Dwarven Forge, if you use flip mats, if you use Warlock tiles, or just game mats or whatever, you can just, you know, use these with that. And it's just a cool dock and rowboat set. And how many adventures feature a little rowboat? All right, that's super cool. I'm so glad we got that. And, all right, got another big one here. I think some of y'all might know this is coming. Oh, got some stuff stuck in there too. We'll come back to that in a second. And bubble wrap stuck in everything. Here is our adult silver dragon that I think some folks have said is already arriving at their doorsteps. And we're finally going to look at ours. You can tell the tail isn't disconnected to ours. So they connect the tail up. That's the way it's supposed to be. He looks almost like he's like a construct to me a little bit, which is kind of interesting. It's made of metal after all. So yeah, we will get the silver dragon unpacked here soon, and we'll compare him to our gold dragon and all the other dragons we have up there on my shelf. We'll put him down here for now. Oh man, I got my work cut out for me this time. And what were those little things that we unwrapped? We have some more Idols of the Realms 2D acrylic minis, and we haven't had a dedicated video about these yet, and I need to do it, because these are pretty important little figures. Flat-packed 2D acrylic minis, full color, that you can use, that are usually much cheaper. I think these sets are about 15 bucks a pop, and they include quite a few minis. I don't know if this one says the exact 16 in this particular set, and this is the one for the While Beyond the Witchlight. This is While Beyond the Witchlight set number 2. You know, features Acton Longscarf, and a couple of the little companions that you meet along the way, Indolin Moongrave, Skabatha, Zabilna, a lot of the important characters, and Will, Jingle Jangle, Gullop. So you get the whole little pack of them. So we will eventually take a look at these, but this is a great alternative to minis. We've been talking about alternatives to minis in the past couple of videos, because minis are expensive and they're hard to store. This is another great way to go about it. We'll compare these to, you know, for example, the Pathfinder pawns that they've been doing for a very long time. These are acrylic. The other ones from Pathfinder are on cardboard. But let's see, are there 3 sets of these? I thought I felt 3 boxes. Yep, here we have While Beyond the Witchlight set number 1. This one has 12 of the minis. Giant Snail, Jabberwock, some of the larger creatures, Paraton, Trolls, Red Caps, some more Harengon, Bullywugs, Blink Dogs. You can see that big Jabberwock right there on the front. So, cool set there. And I'm assuming the last one is set number 3. It is not. It is Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, set number 1. So we just recently reviewed all the Ravenloft minis, which you can see in the corner of your screen up there. I'm pointing behind the thing up there. And yeah, so this one's got the Carrion Stalker, Jiangshi, Lugaru, Nosferatu, Relentless Killer, Unspeakable Horror, Starspawn Emissary. So it's basically the same ones we got minis for, right? But these are the 2D versions, which are much more attainable and affordable. And you can still use them on your table just as well as you can use minis. It's just a different style. And, oh, here's another little box. Strixhaven Set 1. I almost forgot about these. Ooh, and this one's got some of the monsters. Auric Mage, Murgaxar, the Groff, Trudge, Daemagoth, Cogwork Archivist, which is a super cool looking mini. So yeah, these are some of the monsters included in the bestiary of the Strixhaven book. So there's some cool looking creatures here. So I'm looking forward to reading more about those. I don't think I really read through the bestiary when we got the Strixhaven book, so I definitely want to take a look at that. It's a good excuse to do that. And we've got what is a box inside a box. Whoops. And so awkward. I'm going to get rid of that because this says D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures Wave 17 Quick Pack or Quick Pick. So give me just a second. I'm going to do some movie editing magic. Really great. He's going to do it. And we're going to get this opened up and take a look at these. So hold on a sec. All right, we're good to go. These guys, well, push them up to the sides. We have a little room to look at these. Oh, and we did find, buried in the box, which I almost forgot, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, set number 2. With the Octopod, the crocodile-headed mummy, the Displacer Beast, and one or two others that I don't remember from that set. We have Jacqueline Rainier. Let's see, then we got Harengon Rogues. Maligno, who I also don't remember from that set. So there's a couple of extra ones that weren't in the mini set, so that's kind of interesting we can take a look at. Aslan Rex, a few others that were included. So, very cool. But I'm going to move all these to the side, so we have a little bit of room to look at some unpainted minis. Wave 17, and we're a little bit behind on reviewing our waves of unpainted minis. Forgive us, there's a lot of stuff to cover these days from a lot of different companies, but if there's anything that you particularly want to see, let us know. We also have our Patreon where you can vote on things that I prioritize for the month. So let's start with a giant mimic who looks like an outhouse. If you've ever wanted an outhouse mimic, which is both really creative and really terrifying, there you go. That's going to be a popular one. Next we have, oh, that's cool. It's a Dragonne from the Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. So maybe we're going to have a couple of those creatures in this set as well. Another big one, we have, looks like a hill giant. Yep, we got another hill giant. Very big, beefy one. I'm playing Storm King's Thunder right now, and man, I wish I'd had this many giant minis back in the day. I was relying on I had 2 or 3 identical giant minis with just different weapons, hill giants especially. So now we've got quite a lot of these spread throughout a couple of different sets. So I'm really jealous of y'all playing Storm King's Thunder now. Here's another one from, ooh, this is a cool one, from the Young Emerald Dragon from Fizban's. And, it's shaped, a lot of the minis, a lot of the jewel gem dragons have a particular look to them, but you can always paint them in whatever color you want to for whatever adventure you're running. But this is a very cool little young emerald dragon. You can use a green wash to get a little bit of a transparent, watered down paint to make sure that translucent effect stays there. Or else it'll look more like a green dragon than a translucent gem dragon. Speaking of Jabberwocks, we got an unpainted Jabberwock here. Man, the Jabberwocks are just completely silly looking. I adore them. Which also you can use in Pathfinder. Here we have some Harengon Rogues. That's good because the Harengon was introduced in the Witchlight book as a playable race, and we didn't have hardly any Harengon minis. I think we had maybe 2 or 3, including a named one. So having a few more to choose from if you are playing a Harengon figure is really nice to have. We have some flesh golems. Never have too many flesh golems. And those are kind of fun to paint. Here we have some Griffon Hatchlings. That's cool because I believe in the the Icewind Dale adventure, you have the opportunity of possibly raising some Griffon Hatchlings. So having a few minis to represent those is really great. We have an Oni. I don't have too many Oni minis. That's a very cool one too. Next, we have some half-elf rogues. There's always a couple of these player character minis. And they usually come in sets of 2. You can use them to have a slightly different look. This one looks like one's ready for ranged attack with the crossbow, and then one's got a short sword or maybe like a rapier ready for some melee combat. You can just switch them out depending on what weapon they have at that particular moment. Here's a Githyanki, also a playable character perhaps, or just some monsters that you might encounter if you're doing any kind of, maybe some space-based adventures like we may have coming down the pike here later this summer. Some Aarakocra Fighters. These are some very cool Aarakocra minis. This is another one we don't have a lot of. Oh man, they're painted up really cool bald eagles on the back of this. Those are some cool figures. Oh, I want to see some of y'all paint up, Armando and folks, paint up these awesome Aarakocra minis. Oh, an Orc Ranger with an owl. That's awesome. Oh, gosh. That's another fun one. You wanted an Orc Ranger with an owl pet. If that is your character, today is your lucky day. And if not, go make that, because now you have a mini for it. And, yeah, I think the last thing in our box, besides a whole bunch of tissue paper, is a Hell Wasp. I think we have a couple of these in the backyard. Oh man, it's got some transparent, translucent wings here on the side that you're going to have to attach yourself. Terrifying mini. Sorry to end with that for those of you who don't necessarily like flying scary bugs, but that's one way to end on. So let me know in the comments section down below what you are most interested in seeing. What should I prioritize from this particular set? There's a lot of them I'm excited about, so I don't know where to start myself. Also, don't miss out because the pre-order sale is on now for the Fablemaker's animated tarot deck from our friend and sponsor Hit Point Press. It combines tarot, Dungeons & Dragons, and beautiful animations. If you enjoy doing tarot or are interested in learning, these cards and the guidebook are fantastic. And if you just want some really beautiful cards to add a new layer of fun to your D&D games, these are perfect for that too. The Fablemaker's Tarot Guidebook will teach you all about tarot, and it'll tell you how to use these cards in your 5e games to create interesting NPCs, to expand their backstories, to enhance some 5e classes with random card draws, and much more. There's even a fully developed tarot-themed NPC that you can drop right into your campaigns for some good storytelling fun. Pre-order the Tarot Guidebook, deck, or box set today and get a free PDF of the Fablemaker's Tarot deck and the guidebook with your order. And during the pre-order sale, everything's $10 off. Go shape your story at animatedtarot.com or use the link below the video down here so they know that we sent you. And don't forget to check out DScryb at the link below and use the code GALLANTGOBLIN to get your discount. And hey, thanks for tuning in today. If you are getting out there for the festivities for Independence Day here in the States this weekend, be sure to keep applying that sunscreen. This is the time of year everybody gets sunburned. And actually, the best piece of advice I ever got was to wear SPF moisturizer on your face every single day. It keeps you looking gorgeous and keeps you from getting skin cancer. We have a lot of fun videos coming up to shoot this weekend, so I'm really excited about that. Oh, and our pre-order sale is open now for our Kobold plushie Kickstarter. We just got our samples of some of the stickers that are coming in the campaign. They are big. The little white part is actually transparent when you pull it off, so you can have them kind of look perfect on whatever you want to show them on. And this is just one sheet. We have a couple of different sheets there. Also, we're going to have Session 0 on Monday morning, just at home for a new casual Pathfinder campaign that I'm going to be starting because we're gearing up to play some Outlaws of Alkenstar, so I need a little Pathfinder practice before we get that. So I'm looking forward to starting our little practice campaign. I don't get to play any like casual campaigns just for the fun of it anymore, so this one's just for me and my friends as we get ready to go. So we won't be at any barbecues this weekend, but we'll be having a lot of fun, nerdy fun at home, opening these, making videos, getting ready for Pathfinder. I've got my Storm King Thunder campaign with my Patreon backers, so I'm looking forward to that. And if you ever want to hang out, come join our Discord server. We'd love to have you there. Don't forget to check out Glenn's episode of Dragon Talk down below. He's going to be in my game on Sunday. Looking forward to that. And you can also join us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For now, though, stay safe, wear sunscreen, have fun, love each other, enjoy your Independence Day weekend, and I will see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.